That's right, Steve. That's right. Two officers here recovering at Presbyterian. One of them grazed in the nose, and also one of them shot in the elbow. Now, when you mentioned that those two officers were the one that shot in the elbow is actually going to require surgery here at Presbyterian Hospital. So before you took us, there were, of course, a group of police officers that were at the emergency trauma entrance, and of course, the blockades to this whole block surrounding Presbyterian were blocked off as people from the police department were getting briefed, including Commissioner Danielle Outlaw. The mayor was even here getting briefed for a short moment before he left the area. But again, those two officers here recovering, as well as the suspect who was shot in the neck and shot in the upper body. You did mention that he was wearing body armor, so there was a question as to why, he wasn't going down when all that gunfire broke out at that school, outside of that school where Steve Keeley is standing at. And we know that according to Commissioner Outlaw, there was at least 4 officers who fired at that suspect, okay? So 4 officers fired, 2 officers were hit back, 2 others were not injured, luckily. But Commissioner Danielle Outlaw saying that she is thankful this morning, because when you think of the scope of this whole crime and where it could have went, when you think about other active shooter situations, this could have been far worse. Take a listen to what she had to say about the details about the suspect.
The offender struck by the officers was struck in the upper body and in the neck. We learned that he was wearing body armor and was carrying multiple weapons. In addition to the long gun, which was believed to be an AR-15, was also carrying some form of a handgun, a semi-automatic handgun. He was also transported here to Presby and is listed in critical condition and is expected to survive.
There you see Mayor Kenny leaving the hospital a short time ago, right before the sun went up. But again, if you're just waking up with us, those 2 officers are recovering here. One will require surgery at this time. Police trying to figure out what the relationship was between the suspect and the victim. All we know at this time is both of these men were certified nursing assistants, and that there really isn't, beyond the preliminary investigation, much to go off of beyond that. It's also unclear if the suspect was actually even on the clock when all of this happened. You figure he was wearing scrubs. A lot of people may have just assumed he was on the clock there, or he may have just went there to carry out this attack. But according to the commissioner, at this point in the investigation, even so early, they do believe that this was a targeted attack on that victim, who at this moment has not been identified. Back to you.
Possess a man to go and walk in there and just target one person alone and just brutally murder that individual. Now, they were both co-workers. Some articles say, another article say they were friends. Okay. Another article says that, the shooter had mental illness. Okay. What could make this man go and take out this individual in such a brutal fashion? That's what I like to know. Go in there. You're not a mass shooter. You just went to shoot one person in that hospital. Nursing assistant fatally shot by co-worker at Jefferson Hospital was a good man, father says. Anre James, 43, leaves behind a wife and 3 children, his father told Action News. Philadelphia, WPVI. The father of Anre James he's extremely proud of the man his son had become. He was an asset to society, raising up a good family. William James told Action News. Sources say James, a 43-year-old certified nursing assistant at Jefferson University Hospital, was shot and killed by his co-worker, 55-year-old Stacey Hayes. Police say that the suspect drove a U-Haul to the hospital and walked inside wearing blue scrubs. Shock waves rippled throughout the hospital after news spread of a shooter inside the building. A lot of people didn't know what was going on, said Shay Spicer, a registered nurse at Jefferson. A lot of people on that side of the building, on the higher floors, could hear gunshots, so they immediately went into action and hid. Surveillance video reportedly shows Hayes walk up behind Anre James and open fire while he was seated at his workstation, according to sources. Hayes then allegedly kept firing as Anre tried to run away. Hayes, who police say was armed with multiple weapons and equipped with body armor, then fled the hospital in the U-Haul. He later shot and wounded 2 officers before being wounded himself by police returning fire. William James says Anre is survived by his wife, 2 girls, and a boy. He participated in sports with his 11-year-old son, took his daughter back and forth to work, and had 2 jobs. He was a good man, and for him to go out like that from someone like this is heartbreaking, William James said. But he's also confused about how someone could get weapons inside the hospital. The suspect was taken to Penn Presbyterian Medical Center, critical condition, but is expected to survive. How did he get in there with a gun? Asked William James. I hope Hayes lives so I can see, because I just want to see what kind of individual this is. Spokesperson for Jefferson Hospital said in a statement, our hearts are broken as we stand together to remember our colleague and recognize his teammates who tried to save him, protect other patients in the area. The hospital said it will conduct a thorough review of the safety protocols after the incident. Spicer said she hopes this is a wake-up call for the hospital to improve security measures. It's definitely a concern for all of us that someone could walk in with a weapon like that or multiple weapons and could do that to one of our own staff, she said. Along with his job at Jefferson Hospital, I also worked as a barber for many years at the Custom Cuts in the city of Ogun section. My thing is like, what was the relationship between these 2 men? That's what I'd like to know. What was the relationship? And what set off Hayes to the point that he wanted to just target James? This man had his weapons taken away. Hayes I'm talking about, had his weapons taken away for an undisclosed reason, that he got it back. Okay? So there's many reports about Hayes. And there's that rumor that Anre James got Stacey Hayes' wife pregnant. Okay? So, that being said, along with struggling with mental illness, that could set him off. That could be the case. There still has to be more information because police are still doing an investigation to find out more information on what caused this shooting to happen, what type of friendship or what broke down this type of friendship between Hayes and James. Tune in for more. But I will say this, okay? You have a lot of men who can't understand the word, who can't resist temptation. If it is true that James got his co-worker's wife pregnant, just goes to show you have a lot of men that cannot turn down temptation. That has to stop. And if that is true, it's just a case of Dirty Macking gone wrong. And James paid with his life. A lot of people will get mad at that, but that's just the situation. There are consequences for the choices that we make. You don't get to choose the consequences for your actions. I'm just thinking, what could possibly push this man, Mr. Hayes, to go off and just take down one person in such a brutal fashion? Like I said, it's a rumor. It makes sense, but we can't just go on rumors. We have to go on facts. Facts and evidence, not feelings or assumptions. So, when more information comes out, I will be talking about it. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Later.